Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Here from Toronto, Canada, specifically Mississauga, to all my beloved brothers and sisters in Australia. I was asked to record this just in case there are any issues with the live stream. So I wanted to put together a few words for you. And I was thinking about decoding what it is that happened when I was at the airport, because we're typically talking about decoding this dunya. And I wanted to bring my brother Hadi with me because I typically like to talk to a human being, like a soul I can interact with and not just a camera. So inshallah, we'll be going back and forth a little. And he may have some questions for me, and none of this is prepared. Have we prepared any of this? None of this is prepared. So it's all very fresh for you. So thank you for attending, for all of you coming. I love you so much for the sake of Allah. It means the world that you came out. I wanted to also share a few words to say, take it easy on your brothers and sisters at Olive Tree. I know for many of you, there might be a lot of disappointment, but it's all about submitting to whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends our way. I mean, if I'm going to decode what happened, I would say, well, if you believe in Allah and you know how great He is, you trust Him. And if you put your trust in Allah, you don't need to put your trust in anyone else. Is that you think that's true? Okay, so the issue is iman. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. They have to have iman, and then when they have iman, they will put their trust in who? In Allah, not in the worldly means. The issue right now is we're putting our trust in the worldly means because we see the benefit in worldly means. But it's all a matter of seeing. Well, if I have iman, which leads to trust, if I trust the author, I will not question the script, would I? The script is what unfolded. What unfolded is, you have a visa, yes, the visa. The means are right before my eyes. Here is the visa that I got. That is the means for me to enter. And it says approved. And it says granted. And Allah saying no, it's not approved, it's not granted. Allah's team, because I had, when they told me, I'm like, oh, subhanAllah, you need a visa to get into Australia? That's strange. They're like, what citizenship do you hold? I'm like, I'm a dual citizen. I have the American and the Canadian. So which one do you want? Oh, and it'll take a few days. I thought it'll just take a minute. I'm an American citizen, Canadian citizen. Typically, we have all this yaqeen and tawakkul on these things because we see their impact and results. I remember even my father, he was very keen on the passports and nationalities. So he was like, we got you the American, the Canadian, and the Jordanian. So now you can go and move about everywhere. Apparently, it's not passports that get us to cross borders. Or is it visas, is it? But it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command. All these means, they're empty containers. For what? For the command of Allah. But we see and wrongly attribute the means. Oh, in order for victory to come, for example in Gaza, certain things have to take place. See, when you believe that certain means have to be in place, you will begin sacrificing certain morals and principles to make sure those conditions are met. Breaking Allah's commands along the way. Because you're like, this has to happen. It's for the betterment. It's for the overall good. I have a long-term vision. But no, there's no such thing. First, you have to know Allah and know the qudra of Allah. Then you have to know how to have that qudra of Allah be with you. Through the obedience of Allah. Amanu yani ata'u. To believe in Allah means to obey Allah. And that's the second part where when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to Musa at the meeting point, and he said, قَالَ إِنَّنِي أَنَا اللَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنَا. He's introducing himself to Musa alayhi salam. Listen carefully, because most of us get stuck in this first part. Okay, declaring the shahada, la ilaha illa ana, okay? Fa'budni. Now he's telling what is the meaning of this kalima. So first it's declaring the kalima, but then there's a meaning to the kalima. Once you believe there's no God but God and He created you, it's to submit to Him. That's the meaning. But that's not enough. Now you have to understand the reality of the kalima. قَالَ وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا مُوسَى. What is that in your right hand, O Musa? Then Musa mentions what benefits. He attributed the benefits to the staff. Now Allah breaks it down for him. You can't trust your senses. Because look, you saw a staff before. Allah through perception and conception, through thinking and perceiving, the two filters of the mind through which we perceive a filtered version of reality, that Allah controls, because He said, created you to test you. So we enabled hearing and seeing as a platform and a medium for the test. So Allah now is saying, fa'budni, meaning worship me, meaning submit to my command. Fa'budni, and now manifest this ibadah through what? Through prayer, the most important command. Wa aqim as-salata li dhikri. Establish prayer for my remembrance. But then now He teaches him the reality of the kalima. Now what's the next step? The next step is to give everything for this kalima, to be ready to sacrifice everything. لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله ولو كان آباؤهم أو أبناؤهم أو إخوانهم أو أزواجهم أو عشيرتهم. You won't find people that, befriend those who, basically attack Allah and His Prophet, even if they were their own parents, their own brethren, their own children, their own wives, spouses, tribe, clan, whatever it is, you're ready to sacrifice. This is called ikhlas al-kalima. The first thing is the declaration of the kalima, the shahada. The second, the meaning, ma'na al-kalima. The third, the haqiqa, the reality. What is that in your right hand? And now he's teaching, and this is very important to clarify, wait. One thing is the attributes and one thing is the object. Allah created fire and created the attribute of burning. Allah can swap that attribute and put it in ice. And all of a sudden ice is burning. Why? Because the command of Allah is that. So now we see all these means as empty containers for the qudra and the will of Allah. He does what He wills with the means, without the means, against the means, with abundance of means, with scarcity of means. But who's the doer behind the means? You don't let the stunt double fool you. It's just a camouflage. It's just Allah veiling what He's doing behind the scenes. So now you understand the reality of the kalima. Now you have a responsibility. You've proven yourself. You've sacrificed everything. Now idhaba ila fir'aun. Now go deliver the message. And when you are delivering the message, innani ma'akuma asma'u wa ara. You want the help of Allah? Through what? Through inviting. And these are the stages. So some of us declared the kalima, maybe understood the meaning of the kalima, maybe still struggling on. And from the reality of the kalima, most of us stop at that. And they go, no, I'm not ready to, you know what? I'll give you the money because I'm rich, but you go do the work of dawah. Or, maybe I'm willing to do the work of dawah, but I'm not willing to sacrifice some of my money. But others should spend on the work of dawah. That's why every once in a while I like to go on the work of dawah from my own pocket, traveling because that's where the nafs, when you go on tour, what happens is it feeds the ego. And I'm just a human being. But when you're spending from your own and you're going to not so fancy hotels, not so fancy venues, not so what happens, your tarbiyah is being made. So now spreading the kalima, declaring the kalima, the meaning of the kalima, the reality of the kalima, giving everything for the kalima, meaning sacrificing everything for the kalima, and then spreading the kalima. This is the message I have for you. And the voice and the word is the most important. You might watch some movie on TV where the image is a bit blurry, but the sound is perfect. But if the sound is all blurry and the picture, you won't, right? So sound travels across, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the means today. Through social media, through this technology, the blessing that I'm able to be here with you. Because honestly, it's all a hologram, whether I'm in front of you or I'm behind a camera. But it's like one darkness behind another darkness, inside another darkness, right? We're already in the matrix, dunya, and then you're in front of a camera, and now we're streaming. So I was going to come a step closer. But in reality, we are closer to our real self in deep sleep, not in the waking state. You are closer to who you really are in your dream state. Because in your waking state, you have both filters activated, perceiving and thinking. And then what turns off when you dream? You sleep and you dream, perceiving. But imagination, thinking takes place, you're dreaming. But then what happens when dreaming stops? The mind comes to a full stop. What's happening at that point? Deep sleep. What is there in deep sleep? the mind, placed on the ruh. What happens when no mind is left? What's there? Ruh. So are you closer to yourself in deep sleep or in the waking state? So why are you afraid of death? You die every night. Why are people so scared of death? Death is not, you don't die, you taste death. Allah says in the Quran, He says, you taste death, right? So it's a change of frequency where you enter the world of barzakh. Allah just changes the channel. And then from barzakh to hashr, changes the channel. يَوْمَ تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ. Allah says when we replace the earth with a different earth and the heavens, so if He's going to change things up, the laws of science, physics, all of that is going to change. But who's the one that controls all this? You see, we are waiting for the means of victory to take place. And along the way, we are sacrificing God's commands because we're so ultra focused on fulfilling the means, because we have so much conviction on the means. Look at this. And they will make the wrong tafsir of this verse because of their wrong yaqeen. We'll say, Allah says, and prepare what you can, وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ, in one of the wars, battles. وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. Prepare what you can of strength. وَمِن رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ, and also the horses. And then, so everybody's like, see, you have to prepare the means for fighting in certain wars that took place. But okay, finish the verse. Allah says, not just prepare means such that those means will scare off the enemy. تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ. So immediately like, see, we have to prepare so much means. But the problem is, in reality, their tawakkul is on the means. So they're pushing, like you have to prepare their means, misunderstanding that Allah wanted us to prepare the means to scare the non-believers, not for the comfort of the believers. Nowadays, if I have a lot of means, I don't need Allah as much. But if I have a lot of means, then I need Allah a little. If I have a little means, then I need Allah a lot. That's not true, because Allah doesn't change. That means that Allah's decree is dependent on means. So when you crack that code and understand that the situations, everything you experience in life is made up of mind, and mind is made up of seeing, touching, hearing, tasting, the five senses, and thinking. These are the two filters of dunya. Nafs is the mind. The nafs will taste death, absolutely, but the ruh doesn't die. And that's why when we try to gather the ummah, but we bring the ummah, Allah says what will gather the ummah is the command of Allah. What is the command of Allah? The ruh. What is also, the ruh is the command of Allah, and its nutrition is the commands of Allah. So Allah wants us to, when Allah's saying that will bring you unity, because it's linked to the ruh, and the ruh is one. It's the shared canvas. It's the awareness. It's the light of awareness. You know what it's like? Allah says Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Think that you walk into a warehouse, but all you have is this small torch, this small flashlight. And all you see, you turn it on, is what the flashlight shows you. You don't see all that is around you, just see that much. That nur is inside of you. Every once in a while, someone turns up all the lights, and you get to see that, wait, there's so much more. Then it turns off. After you've seen it, now even though you may not see it later, but you know it's there because you've seen it once. Is it not true? So you go about life, Allah is giving you that. You want to strengthen the light. One thing is the light of a bicycle, and there's the light of a car. Then there's a light of an airplane, maybe a light of a submarine. One light is bigger than, the more the light, when you have light in your heart, what happens? You no longer see creation. Think of creation as that which is commanded, like think of food. You think that food satiates hunger because you're believing in the means. When that nur increases, you no longer are with the commanded, you're with the command and the commander. You're with Allah and what He commanded because you have light, but through insight. So now you're no longer you're not going to make decisions based on emotional decisions based on how you feel about the certain means in your life. But you're going to make decisions that are sometimes very illogical, but you know that they're pleasing to Allah because He's the one in control and He's the one that's going to align things. So you begin to, instead of just seeing the commanded, you see the command and the commander. The more nur develops until you even see Jannah and Jahannam. Like one of the Sahabis says, I see the people of Jannah visiting each other, the people of Jahannam barking at each other when he was answering the Prophet ﷺ. So you begin to see with your insight what the eyesight cannot see. And now you put God's command before everything. You put Allah first, so He puts you first. You no longer are waiting for certain means, having to sacrifice some of your morals, some of your ethics, some of your iman, your faith, all of that for associate partners, but it's to answer to other than God when God calls you. And God is giving you a hint 5 times a day. He calls you in this adhan. That used to be, the adhan used to be what? The adhan used to be, the salah used to be 50 prayers. That's why the adhan has 50 words.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly. If you count it all fully, yeah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, that's 4 words. Continue, you'll find 50. But Allah made them, gave us the, made them 5 and gave us the reward, of 50. Yeah. So salah, that one command that many of us are falling very short on. What were we saying? So my point is, we need to go back to the basics, which is learning how to see, learning how to understand, learning how things are working, knowing the reality of makhluk to know the reality of the khaliq, to then put your trust in the right place in the khaliq. And then you're no longer interested in, you're no longer worshiping other people's opinions. It's not what it's about anymore. You have a marja, you have something to go back to, always interested. What does Allah want from me in this moment? We do what we do because Allah commanded us to. When someone said that eat so you gain strength to worship Allah, someone told him, since when does food give strength? Strength comes from Allah. Food is a means, an empty container for the will of Allah. If He wills, He can put satiation. If He wills, you could eat all the food in the world and never be satiated. In reality, it's all a simulation, because it's basically like, think of a digital room outside of time and space where things are being rendered and appearing here, like a broadcast, like a hologram. That's what's really going on. You're actually in a simulation. And that's how it works. That code is being rendered. Allah's creating. Kulla yawmin huwa fi sha'n. He creates and recreates death and life. And it's a continuous, it's not like a one-time thing. It's ongoing. So every single atom needs Him in every single moment to be. So my message is going back to that, understanding the reality of makhluk so that the iman is corrected, so that you understand the meaning of it, and then you understand its reality, so then you're motivated to sacrifice for it and then fulfill your purpose, which is bringing deen into your life and all of humanity until the day of judgment. Ultimately, that's our purpose, and they're not going to stop it. They're going to try, but...
Let me ask you something then. So if you're, what Allah wants from you in that very moment, when you're in the airport and you have the visa in your hand and you're at the counter and they're like, no, this paper khalas means nothing. What do you think Allah wanted from you in that very moment?
The first thing is, where's Allah looking? In your heart. He's not looking at your hand with the visa and the phone. He's looking at your heart. So the thing is, where did the heart turn? Right in the moment where she had said, sorry, sir, the visa, it's not working.
Where did it turn?
You're actually, where did it turn?
Let me I think we're curious.
I'm going to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
I talk about this stuff all the time. I have the advantage that I talk about it all the time. So it's always top of mind. That's the greatness of talking about Allah over the takbir, the 4 in the adhan. That's what I forgot and wanted to mention. Allah says, I am greater, because He's telling you the makhluk you're busy with is smaller. I am the greater one. Leave that for me. But your yaqeen is on that. So because I'm always talking about your ilah is the one that your heart first turns to in the time of need. For me, immediately the first thing was, what is Allah getting at? immediately, the minute the lady said that, it was, okay, ya Allah, I'm with you here. You know, and I'm not saying this out of, usually if I'm asked about these type of things, I keep it to myself. But the reason I share that is because I want you to understand the power of dawah. If you're always talking about the greatness of Allah, it's just so, in fact, if you're talking to me and you start telling me a story about how you went to this friend that helped solve this problem that you're having, as you're telling me how your friend, you know, he knew this guy who knew that guy and he made a phone call, and, you know, because of that phone call, subhanallah, everything went perfect. And you're committing shirk with your words unknowingly. My heart, as you're speaking, someone that is not complete in understanding will cut you off and say, that person's just annoying. That's not what we're saying. You're negating it with your heart. So as you're saying that, I'm like, no, Allah's the one doing it, but I play along. Now, if you're someone that will take advice from me, I might do a subtle reminder like, oh, subhanallah, how Allah works, you know, or something like that. But for myself, there's a movie going on inside my head as I'm going about experiencing life. So when you come up to me and you say salam, I'm immediately like, okay, Allah's putting Abdul Hadi today in my life at this time. What's he getting at? Like that. But this, the more you talk about it, the more it becomes just part of your day-to-day. So yes, so that happened, but then the question is, that's the first thing, the heart. But then what is that's la ilaha illallah. But where's Muhammadun Rasulullah? That's how you respond, not react. Reacting is ego. What? Because I'll be like, what? What do you mean? I applied for a visa. Those people at Olive Tree, I'll show them, hello, Olive Tree, you know.
It seems to be separate of the state.
Yeah, you go at him. You see what happened? Someone didn't do his job properly. Oh, did the lawyer do this? Or did this person? And you start to point fingers. But in reality, you're not with the puppets. You're with the one moving the strings. So all of that movie is happening in front of you, and you're like, yeah, Allah, you know, this is good. And that's the thing. And it annoys my wife sometimes, though, I have to admit.
This is I know a lot of people around you.
Yeah, she says sometimes you're just too cool.
You're just too chill.
So yeah, so sometimes, you know, I have things that trigger me, but when they do, you're quick to realize your ghafla. You're like, oh, you know, and then you come back and you make istighfar. But the point, man, is to make the link. Because most people are so heedless and ghafil, they don't make the connection. Iman is making the connection between the seen and the unseen. So you see something, Allah tells you something. You make the connection. Sometimes they don't make sense, but Allah said it, you go for it. So the fact that you see it first, and then the response is sabr. This lady that's at the counter, it's not her fault. She's trying her best. I might lose it on her. She would come on the day of judgment and she'd have a right upon me. And I'd have to pay her back that right because I lost it on her, whatever. But thank you. You've done what you could do, got a supervisor. Then I called Olive Tree and they called their lawyers and they started moving on it. But usually if I'm not like in the crux, like at the counter or something that's extremely, extremely powerful and just breaks the back of shaitan. Because Allah says shaitan has no control over those who have iman, and tawakkul is you take a corner and you pray 2 rak'ahs salat al-hajjah. You tell Allah, I see this from you and I'm content. It's not about it's not about being optimistic or hopeful, because if you're optimistic or hopeful, your focus is on the outcome. So it's not about that. Your focus is not on the outcome. Your focus is you're with the author. Right? So if the outcome, you're more interested in rida. Just, I'm pleased with whatever you're pleased with, Ya Allah. So this would be my message, that we're pleased with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed. I hope my message reached you. Forgive me because I'm a bit under the weather. I did my best here with the time that I have. I might join for a few minutes for the live stream, but this is the message I wanted to get across, the message of iman and yaqeen. Obviously, we were going to go into it a lot deeper if we had more time. But inshallah, you're going to be following more of the content as we go along this journey. And inshallah, I'm benefiting and you will benefit as well, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So thank you so much. I love you all for the sake of Allah. Take it easy on the olive tree, guys. You know, they're incredible, mashallah. They've been so kind, so professional all along the way. So one thing is, none of us believe until we love for our brothers what we love for ourselves. So realize the difficulties that they're going through. So make sure you support them, make dua for them, and make things easy. The person that is with the prophets and the shuhada, the martyrs, like the highest places in paradise, so those are the people that are very easygoing when they do business and dealings. They're not like, this is the thing. We want to know it's our rights so that we demand them. And I'm telling them, the Sahaba wanted to know their rights so that they forgive them for the sake of Allah and get the reward for it. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from them, from you, from me, from all of us. Thank you for your time. Jazakum Allah khair. And keep me in your du'as. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I love you all for the sake of Allah.